Hello, good evening. It's 10 p.m. in Accra, 11 p.m. in Abuja, Nigeria, and midnight in Johannesburg, South Africa. We'll bring you the very latest stories from across the country and beyond over the next 30 minutes. But first, let's take a look at the day's news highlights. "122 police officers who sustained injuries or lost their lives in the line of duty from 2002 are to be compensated at the end of this month. The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, made the announcement at the funeral of Assistant Commissioner of Police Emmanuel Ashelevi, who has been promoted posthumously. The police officer was killed by armed men who stormed the Kwabenya police station in January. And TV3's investigations have revealed a policeman involved in the row with dancehall artist Shatta Wale in a video gone viral has been invited by his superiors. He's reported to have arrested and put in custody a hairdresser for allegedly filming the incident. And most residents in Accra went about their normal duties as sanitary workers and volunteers cleaned up their neighborhood. The residents say their action is a protest over the failure of city authorities to ensure that garbage collected during such exercises end up at final disposal sites. Woodworkers in Kumasi say they are unhappy with the unwarranted seizure of their lumber and wood products by officials of the Forestry Commission. They've given government 3 weeks to intervene or risk a protest and a boycott in payment of taxes and duties. Three months after mission visited the Dafiama Busi Isa district of the Upper West Region, district authorities are almost through with facilities to start a district hospital. A laboratory started 3 months ago is ready, while a doctor's quarters is about 90% complete. On the international front, the United Nations has suspended aid work helping tens of thousands of people in northeastern Nigeria after an attack by suspected Boko Haram militants left 3 humanitarian workers dead and at least 3 others missing, possibly kidnapped. The suspension of aid work in the town of Ran, which hosts a camp for 55,000 people displaced by the Islamist Boko Haram insurgency, was announced late in a statement from the spokesman for the UN Secretary General. Those are our major news highlights. Remember, we're streaming live on Facebook and on 3news.com. Up next is the big one. A worker of Goldfields Company has given an account of happenings at the workplace where they are currently gathered.
Everywhere on the mine. Yesterday in the evening, if you get to the gate, you are asked for the letter by the military men. If you don't have the letter, that means that you are not going to enter. So it is under duress. Most of the guys sign these letters, and it is just not comfortable. This morning, most of the guys who refused yesterday to sign, or they were blocked from entering the mine, and they were asked to come to the welfare section where we have some of the military, and then some of the military and the HR there. As soon as you sign, then when you get to the gate, there's military there to inspect your signed letter, and then they will allow you inside.
Well, TV3 has gathered that there is heavy military presence at Goldfields, with workers allegedly being forced to sign and receive their termination letters. This follows a court ruling which went in the favor of Goldfields Company Limited. Meanwhile, the Ghana Mine Workers Union are upset about a court ruling which went in the favor of Goldfields. Right. We earlier spoke to our Western regional correspondent, Benjamin William Peters, earlier on News 360. Let's hear that interaction again.
Limited to lay off some workers as the company intends to enter into contract mining. The ruling came out yesterday and it went in favor of Goldfields. What was entailed in the ruling is that Goldfields are saying for the past 3 months that they've been battling this matter in the court, they've been incurring some costs, some loss, about $143,000 are being lost on daily basis as a result of the court ruling. So they appealed to the court that the court should come to their favor so that they can enter into the contract mining for them to be able to sustain their company. So that was the ruling that came out. And today, officials of the Ghana Mine Workers Union are saying they are not happy with the ruling which went in favor of Goldfields Ghana Limited. And the other incident that they are telling the media is that when the ruling came up yesterday, the workers of the company were forced to sign their letters of termination, if you can put it, under duress. From what they are saying, there was a heavy military presence in the company. So a worker who refuses to sign that letter was refused entry into the company today. So as I speak to you now, they are now addressing their workers over here for them to know the steps that the Ghana Mines Workers Union are taking to restore sanity in the company. But I have here with me Mr. Prince William Ankra, who is the General Secretary of the Ghana Mines Workers Union, to brief us on what the union is doing to safeguard the interests of workers. Mr. Ankra, welcome to TV3.
Yeah, thank you, my brother. Virtually, we are in our meeting with our valued members. The idea is to make sure that we are sure that, look, the case is not ended. It's a cause of competent jurisdiction, and we respect the ruling, but we are virtually appealing against the ruling on the basis that they should stay execution, and also we've done proceeding to appeal court. And we are here today to make sure our fellow members are told exactly what our stance is, and also to make sure that they don't do anything untoward. But we are disappointed because it's a substantive issue worth looking at in the process was ignored by the judge. And we think, I mean, we all hear about the law is the bosom or the judge, so respect her views, but obviously that's why there are structures about what she does. So we think that the next step will give us a hearing, and we'll be able to put our thoughts in the right.
Okay. All right. We're grateful to Peters for that report. Definitely, the situation that Solis allows some workers to be laid off.
Right, in the studio tonight we have mining consultant Seth Cly to continue discussions on this matter. Mr. Cly, good evening and thank you very much for coming. Now, forcing employees to sign their resignation letter sounds to me like it is something in bad faith, or you would say that it is just a refusal to confront the facts and choices in the circumstances.
Absolutely, Steve. I think that in this day and age, dealing with workers has to be done, with a lot of restraint and circumspection. If the ruling was just yesterday, and then workers are coming to work today, and they have to be forced to sign termination letters with military presence, it's really in bad taste. It doesn't speak well of the kind of country we are running. Why the military? And if a ruling was just given yesterday, and we all know that the legal process is not finished until the litigants have explored all the avenues available to them.
Including appeals and all of that.
All that. And if you heard the General Secretary of the Mine Workers Union speaking, he said they were going to appeal. Now, this issue of retrenchment is a thorny one. And when it comes to the mining industry, there must be very, very cogent reasons why you would want to lay off workers. Let's not forget that this country is already struggling with unemployment issues. And these workers, I think that the multiplying effect of each worker in Goldfields will be like 5 or 6. So if you sack like 100 workers, you are really depriving about 500 plus people of their livelihood. There are other ways to look at these issues of retrenchment and try to negotiate. You know, when the workers really understand the issues at stake, they might even be willing to take less remuneration just to make the company sustainable. So I don't really know the full facts of these retrenchment, but I think that in this day and age, there must be better ways of looking at laying of workers.
Can this have an effect on investor confidence in the mining sector?
Absolutely. You know, whatever happens, and Ghana is a big boy when it comes to mining in the whole world. And things that happen in this industry have serious repercussions, you know, in the international market as far as dealing with the country is concerned. So we must be careful when we confront these issues.
What about the overall implications on, you've mentioned the effect it will have on unemployment, but what about revenue generation and the impact on the communities where these mines are and where the livelihoods of those who are interdependent on the mining activities in these areas?
Well, it's very obvious, because once you lay these people off, you've deprived them of their livelihood, their dependents and extended family will suffer. The community in which the mining is taking place will have some reduced activity, which will also impact on revenue, generation for the people in the community, because the existence of the mine and everything creates other ancillary jobs for people within the community. So the impact is not just the workers, but the whole community. And I hazard to say that it also affects, you know, part of the population of this country.
What about we know that Galamsey, the fight against Galamsey has been ongoing for a while, clamping down on illegal mining and the rippling effect on small-scale miners as well. Do you think this is going to actually have a big effect on more people wanting to now go back into Galamsey?
Well, you have given skills to these people who have been in your employment for some years. So they have an idea about mining. And as a means of survival, some will be tempted to take that route. So we cannot rule that out. I know that, you know, once people are pushed against the wall, they will want to survive.
What should the way forward be, actually?
I think that the Mine Workers Union should sit down with the management of the company and find a better way of going around this.
Better way will be what exactly?
Well, better way meaning that maybe the workers will be spoken to try and take maybe less remuneration for their work, so that the company can stay afloat. I don't know the current state of the company, but as far as I know, gold prices are going up. And so this whole retrenchment thing is also another I don't really understand.
Do you think government should intervene, despite the fact that there is a court ruling, favorable court ruling for the company?
Well, yes, because we have to look at other alternative dispute resolution mechanism. And here the minister must really sit the parties down and try to understand and look at how to mitigate on both sides, their concerns.
Right.
So that there will be some peace.
Some peace. Mr. Clay, we're grateful for your time. Thank you very much. Seth Clay is a mining consultant, and I'm Stephen Enti. This is still News at 10. We have more news for you. Please don't go away. Welcome back. Now, the Chief Executive Officer of the Institute of Chartered Economists of Ghana, Gideon Emisa, says there is the need to eliminate all the unnecessary human interface in the transaction chain in the country if Ghana is serious in fighting corruption. He indicated one of the setbacks in fighting corruption is a lack of implementation of recommendations proffered by experts.
We recommend that it's about time that policymakers get more proactive in dealing with corruption than reactive. We tend to look at the preventive side more than the curative side of corruption. Various institutions that we have that deals or are anti-corruption agencies in the country are more or less on the reactionary measures in fighting corruption. But then it's about time that we get more proactive in dealing with corruption. Also, we have to deal with corruption on the holistic, point of view. When you ask the ordinary Ghanaian on the street about corruption in getting into a public office or a civil service or in the ministry, what extent or what is the perception of the Ghanaian? If it is not clear and transparent, then we are likely to have some of the score that we have in this 2017 Corruption Perception Index. Also, we have to get transparent with our permit and regulatory offices. Some of the offices that you go and you have to get birth certificate, passport, your license, your land registration. How do these institutions affect the perception of the ordinary Ghanaian on corruption? These are all some of the factors that goes and add to our score in terms of corruption measurement or perception in the global front. When investors want to come and set up businesses, if you want to register your business, what are the processes that you go through? How transparent is it? If you want to get a land registration, how easy is it for you to do that? All these things are factors that goes into measuring the perception of corruption. And investors will look at all these indicators before coming in to invest in our country. To what extent are we able to monitor, regulate, and control the contact of the police with the public? These are very crucial things that we have to deal with. If some of the systems that we can structure in such a way that there will be less human interface, why not we have to embark on that and ensure that if I have to pay my tax, if I have to register a business, if I have to get land registration, if I have to get a passport, I don't necessarily have to go through a system of meeting people. If it can be done in digital way, why not we go through the digital way, digitizing all these things? With the press of a mouse, you are through with this. And these things can minimize our perception of corruption with these public institutions.
Most residents in Accra went about their normal duties as sanitary workers and volunteers cleaned up their neighborhood. The residents say their action is a protest over the failure of city authorities to ensure that garbage collected during such exercises end up at final disposal sites.
The early hours of Saturday morning, a cleanup exercise led by the Metropolitan Chief Executive, Mohammed Ajay Sowa, and other officials of the Assembly. All business activities were supposed to be on hold until 10 a.m. when the exercise ends. But some traders at Kaneshie and environs paid no heed. They went about their regular activities, saying they were waiting for the AMA team to clean up the place. At midday, the news team visited some areas to see the outcome. This is Abosokai. and this gutter is supposed to have been desilted.
And not the but
We have desilted, but because of the water, we are unable to go down to do it properly.
It is choked with plastics, but we don't have the necessary equipment to clear them. This is the best we could do.
It was worse at Zongo Junction, Mataheko, and Sukura. Garbage from the gutters was yet to be collected to the final disposal sites. People sat by choked gutters, going about their business with no intention of taking part in the exercise.
So just come and announce, but coming for the rubbish become a problem. Most of them did not do it. When you go down there, you can see that no one has even collected it. Has even removed his or her rubbish from the gutter. Because the other time they promised they will come round, they didn't do it. The rubbish was all over on the streets. So you would have to spend money and do that.
Yeah. I'm a fan. Yeah, it is a shoe, and so your apprentice, Yaniska, you never we got a mobile. No man, I say you got any moon.
Muniru has been paid by shop owners here to clear the debris. So people like Muniru are also cautioning on the situation because the AMA and other authorized institutions that are mandated to carry the waste collected are not doing so, and so they also take it as an opportunity to clear them and then get paid. But that is one of the challenges that is affecting patronage of the National Sanitation Day across the cities. For these residents at Mamprobi, it was news to them that today was Sanitation Day.
I forgot,
but you know that first Saturday of every month is a National Sanitation Day.
Yeah, I know it.
So today, did you clean?
Since we have things to do, that's why I forgot to, because my focus is on the things that I want to do.
The street in front of Kolebu was also dotted with waste from the cleanup exercise yet to be collected. The Sanitation Day exercise would not be taken serious if these issues are not addressed. Catherine Frimpoma, TV3, Accra.
And that's how we'll wrap up with news at 10. Thank you very much for staying with us. On behalf of the crew, good night. And remember that the VGMA nominations are still ongoing and live on TV3.